Welcome to Successful Philanthropy. I'm Jean Shafiroff, your host. This show is designed to highlight the work of leaders here in the United States and then beyond. Today with us, international fashion designer Zang Toi. Zang is also a philanthropist and a titled Dak Tok in the country of Malaysia. Let's all welcome Zang Toi. Zang, it is such an honor to have you with us today on Successful Philanthropy. And Zang, I want to start with you and your beginnings. I understand you were raised or born in Malaysia, and you were one of many children, and you grew up in a very small village. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Hello, Jean. Yes, I'm the youngest of the seven children. I grew up in my parents' grocery store in a little village in Malaysia called Kuala Krai. And as a matter of fact, I grew up in my parents' grocery store until I was 15 years old. Before then, went on to study high school in the capital of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and then came to New York 40 years ago to study at Parsons School of Design.
So interesting. And what was it like coming from Malaysia to the United States? I assume you came by yourself and you went from a small village or then the capital of Malaysia to New York City. What was that like for you?
It was such an amazing experience 40 years ago to come to New York with $300 in my pocket to be given the opportunity to study in America. And the very first day I arrived in New York, I knew it's going to be my home.
So very interesting. And how did you become the international fashion designer that you are today?
Well, through a lot of hard work and a lot of lucks, and as you know, I came here with $300 in my pocket to study, and like like everyone else, I have to study very, very hard to prove myself, and I was very fortunate enough to study very hard and to be able to complete a 4-year degree at Parsons School of Design in 3 years, but at the same time, I was working very, very hard, not only at the classes in school, and also the last 2 years of college, I have to work full time in order to support myself to buy the arts that's required for schooling. So I actually work and go to school full time the last 2 years of my college, living on 2 to 3 hours a day for 2 years. But this is what American Dream is all about. If you have a little talent and you're willing to work very, very hard, anything is possible.
Yes, and many of the fashion publications, Vogue, and countless others have written about you and your work. And you've been designing, I think, since, is it 1989? I'm not sure, but when you had your first article in Vogue and your first approval by Anna Wintour, how did that feel?
It feels amazing, to be a little boy from a little village in Malaysia, come all the way to the Big Apple, and to establish my company, like you said, 1989, in August 1989, and launch my very first collection, Resort 1990, 89, 90, with my lucky 13 pieces, and to have one dress picked up by Anna Wintour and to be featured in Vogue magazine 3 months after I launched a collection in November issue of 1989 in Vogue magazine is unheard of. Even today, it's unheard of. Most designers had to wait for quite a few years to get that opportunity, and most everyone have a publicist or marketing director working on getting them into order press, and I never had one, and still today I never use a publicist or marketing company to promote my line. It's all by word of mouth, and it's the product that I present to the fashion world.
And so Anna Wintour really gave you your first big introduction into the fashion world by putting one of your pieces in Vogue. That's a very big deal. Anyone in the fashion world realizes that Vogue is, well, top of the line. Now, when it came to designing, Did you have a woman in mind or a man in mind? Because I see today when I've attended your fashion shows here in New York City, you create extraordinary pieces, beautiful gowns, beautiful day wear, and your shows are very intricate and they're very, very involved. You have many, many models and you have sometimes, I don't know, 1,000 people watching. But did you have a particular woman in mind, or did you want to design for everyone?
Well, I really want to design for everyone. I want my job as a designer is very simple. All I want to do is to make every woman who wears Zang Toi feel beautiful. Once they feel beautiful, they can look beautiful. And
And
my collection also, I think for the last 32 years, my collection managed to garner all the lady who wears Zang Toi the attention. Whenever they wear Zang Toi to attend a gala, they don't attend the gala, they arrive. And I'm sure you have that experience many times, Jean. The photographer, everybody just go crazy whenever a lady arrives in Zang Toi's gowns, or whether a gown or a suit or anything.
yes, and I remember Bill Cunningham of the New York Times absolutely loved your designs. And every time I wore a Zang Toi and he were at the event, well, Bill Cunningham would put me wearing Zang Toi in the New York Times. And that was a very nice thing. It was more about Zang Toi, I think, than about Jean Shafiroff, but combination wasn't bad.
No,
Now,
it's a great team. It's a great team, isn't it? Isn't he such an amazing man? He's one of the kindest men in our industry. I never forget with Bill Connect, every time I ran into him on the street, he always have a very encouraging words for me, and he just loved my design. He always told me, say, I can always spot a Zang Toi whenever a woman walk into a gala. I don't have to look at the label. So I'm sure all of us missed him very, very much.
yes, and I understand a little bit about fashion. I'm on the board of the Couture Council, which is the museum at FIT, and I own a number of Zhang Toi's gowns and then ready-to-wear day wear. And Zhang, I must say the construction of your garments is so high in terms of quality. The quality is there, the design is there, and then the materials are there, the silks and the brocades and the types of materials you use to design. Well, everything's extra, extra special. Zhang, you are a titled Daktok in Malaysia. What is that exactly? What does that mean? And who bestowed that title on you?
Well, I was knighted by the King of Malaysia in 2013, for my contribution to Malaysia. Like the past three prime minister of Malaysia always like to joke, say, Zang Toi is the most famous export of Malaysia. So I was bestowed that title by the King for my contribution to the country. What made that title so special was that I was knighted by the king 5 months before my late father passed away. So, and my dad got to witness that one of his son, the youngest one of the family, was knighted by the king, and was the only person in my entire village that ever been knighted by the king.
That must have been a great honor for your father. And of course, it is a great honor for you. And what contributions have you made to Malaysia that you might want to speak about during this show?
Well, I think the contributions that I make to the country, I think mostly since I left home when I was 18, I've been living in America. I think it's the press, the national press that I brought for the country on the world stage, and also some of the philanthropy work that I do as much as I can, even though I don't live there, to help out whenever I could in the home, especially in the home state where I grew up. And I think the biggest contribution that I made, I believe, is that I brought the Malaysian name to the international stage.
And that's a very big contribution. Now, Zhang, you are such a well-known fashion designer, and you're also a philanthropist, as you started to speak about. Can you talk a little bit about some of the charity work that you do in the United States?
Yes, over the years, I have raised money for different charity. One of the biggest one will be the Lance Armstrong Foundation. I raised between 2007, 2008, and 2009. Me and my team were able to raise over $750,000 for the Lance Armstrong Foundation, which I still believe is a good, solid foundation who have done so much for the cancer survival. And I have also raised money for the Human Rights Foundation and with many other various charity. Jean, as as somehow famous person here, you get hit every single day for donation, for foundation, whatever. Now, as a blessed person that living the American dream, I try to do however I can to raise money. And also I partner with one of my clients in Seattle, raising money for. She is very into United Nations for the children. So we have done many trunk shows at home, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for the proceeds that go to the foundation, the United Nations for many years. And the most recently, I just did a big fashion show for National Symphony. It was the first live event for the National Symphony since the lockdown. We gave the symphony the best show ever in 16 years and raised the most money. And we're able to do over $300,000 trunk show following the fashion show at the boutique Gasmeyer for 3 days, which is the biggest record. And they also give a proceed from the trunk show to the symphony. According to the buyers and the owner of the boutique, is the best trunk show ever in that 41 year in business.
So you raised a lot of money for the National Symphony.
And national, yes.
And national, yes. Now, for our audience, we are with Zang Toi. Zang is an international fashion designer. He was born in Malaysia, now resides in the United States, and he is a titled Daktok in the country of Malaysia. And a Dakto is the equivalent of being knighted, say, in England. And so he was knighted by the King of Malaysia for his contributions to the country. Zang, so what I'm hearing is that your philanthropy is not only in Malaysia, but also in the United States. And I think that's very noble that you are helping many people. You're raising visibility and you're raising money for philanthropy. I want to switch gears. We are now in the throes of Fashion Week 2021, Fall Fashion Week 2021. Are you giving a show in New York or is that on hold right now?
For me, it's on hold for now because the reason why I decided to skip the September Fashion Week is there's so much uncertainty out there. So I decided to wait until hopefully February, and then we'll see how it goes.
Zang, I think people are very excited about your next fashion show in February 2022. And I think you're smart to hold off and just to wait. What about this COVID-19 pandemic? Was Malaysia hit in a big way, the way the United States was and the rest of the world?
Yes, very much so. And they have been in the lockdown for the past several months. It just finally reopened up slowly this week. And some of the shops are allowed and businesses are allowed to reopen again. And I just hope and pray that for the rest of the world, for the whole world to reopen up soon. And the minute it reopened Malaysia, I want to go home and visit my family, my mother, my 92 years old mother, and just pray that things go get back to normal soon.
And when was the last time you were able to visit Malaysia?
Well, the last, unfortunately, usually I try to go home once a year because of my busy schedule. But in 2019, I was able to go home twice. I went home to April 2019 to attend the royal wedding, the royal family that I know very well from my home state for the Crown Prince wedding. And then in December 2019, I went home again for my nephew's wedding. So I was home twice, but that was the last time. It was December 2019. So I miss my family, especially my 92 years old mother. So I can't wait to get home and give her a big, big hug.
I'm sure you miss her, and it's a shame you haven't been able to travel, but really most of us have not been able to travel because of this pandemic. And hopefully things will open up sooner than later. We'll get through the Delta variant and we
Yes.
won't have other variants, hopefully. And as people get vaccinated, more and more are vaccinated, I think we'll all be more protected. And now getting back to fashion, and I know fashion is a passion of yours, and every season you have this exciting show, and you usually go into different colors and different
Yeah.
moods. And I know one year you had the theme America, and I'm assuming that was in appreciation and gratitude for all of what America has given to you. Tell me about some of the other themes of some of your shows and what you've tried to convey.
Well, you know what? I try to every season. What I try to convey with my fashion show is beauty. No matter what inspiration from whichever part of the world, my first and foremost thing is to convey beauty and glamour to all the lady who wear Zang Toi. It's just wonderful. To bring some beauty, if we can, to the world. And like you say, I did the American collection in 2019. The very reason why I did that collection for spring 2020, which was my 30th anniversary collection, I knew that was planned 3 years ahead. For that collection, I knew I would like to pay tribute to my home country for my 30th anniversary. So I knew I was going to do a Malaysian inspired collection as a tribute. And that was the very reason why I did a red, white, and blue collection to salute America, for me to say thank you America for allowing me to live the American dream before I pay tribute to my home country. And now, obviously, spring 2022 is almost done. We're shooting the collection, the video, and the lookbook on September 12th. You will love the collection. I decided to be inspired by Palm Beach, since Palm Beach is on fire right now. Everybody wants to be there. It's so glamorous. It brought back the memories of the store, the one of the finest boutique in the country, Martha. Martha was the first boutique that support my collection, my very first collection. They brought me to Park Avenue on Park Avenue and Martha, and then brought me to Palm Beach and Martha introduced me to so many of the wonderful lady that was Zang Toi even 30 years ago, including the one and only Brooks Astor was a Zang Toi fan. So I decided to go back to the memories of Palm Beach from 32 years ago when I first started out to pay tribute to the new glamorous Palm Beach. And then while I'm finishing up this collection, I will actually start working on the fall 2022 collection. Hopefully we'll have a runway show in February. And I was jokingly telling my assistant today, I've been working while finishing up the spring 2022. I'm always working on fall 2022 every night before bedtime. I think I'm pretty much finished for 2022. And just let hope that we reopen soon so that I can stage another runway show for all my fans.
Yes, and Zhang, besides dressing many social philanthropic women, you've also dressed many big celebrities. And would you talk about some of the big names that you've dressed, meaning you've provided their outfits for and made them look beautiful for their stage appearances?
Yeah, many, now over the, I've been very, very fortunate over the last 32 years to dress many of them, like the late Elizabeth Taylor, the late Farrah Fawcett, which is one of my favorite movie star ever and a very close personal friend, and Sharon Stone, who I think had the most incredible star of any of the movie stars. She always come and work with me without a stylist. She know exactly what she likes, and the great Patti LaBelle, and I can keep on going, and Eva Longoria, and many, many more. And I was very fortunate enough to, beside dressing the beautiful New York socialites like you, and also some of the Hollywood celebrity, and many, many of the royal family, especially the Saudi royal family. Over the years, I might have dressed at least 30 members of the Saudi royal family as well. And of course, once the richest woman in the world, the Melinda Gates, was also a very long time loyal client as well.
Very nice. And when you dress people of title, celebrities, philanthropists, Zhang, getting back to your philanthropic work, you work in Malaysia doing philanthropy and in the United States. And I understand many of your trunk shows and then your fashion shows at big galas have really produced and brought in a lot of funds for different charities. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that work?
Yes, you know what? I think it's so important to be able to merge fashion show of with a charity event, which I have fortunate. I'm fortunate enough to partner with Saks Fifth Avenue across the country, to partner with different charity to produce a fashion show, raising money for different charity. For example, in September, that's why I have to skip Fashion Week too. Immediately after the mid of September, as soon as we launch the collection, I'm flying to Saks in Indianapolis to stage a fashion show for wine, women, and shoe to raise money for the charity there in Indianapolis. And then that is in September. Then I go to Birmingham, Alabama for Gasmeyer to stage a fashion show again to raise money for Lindley Heflin Foundation. And then in November, I'm back at Saks in Tulsa, doing the same charity fashion show for wine, woman, and shoe, and then off to Saks in Hawaii, hopefully, for another charity fashion show. I think it's so amazing to be able to partner, to use my status, visibility, to help raise the profile of the charity and also to raise the money. But for me, it's not always just raising the fund. I remember 40 years ago when I first came to New York, I do not have any money. I came with $300 in my pocket. So I'm all alone here without my family. They're all in Malaysia. So every holiday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, any holiday, I don't have the money to go on vacation or get away. So what I did, I decided I usually go and volunteer at homeless shelter or senior home, serving dinner or lunch during the holiday for whether it's Thanksgiving, so Christmas or New Year. I've done this before. I'm able to afford to give the money or raise the fund. So I've always encouraged the young people, especially I have so many young people that look up to me, whether in America or in Malaysia or other part of Asia. I always encourage, I say that, you know, if you can afford, if you're blessed enough in life, always give back. If you can afford to give money or raise fund, give your time, volunteer your time, go to a shelter, to a senior home shelter, a children's shelter or homeless shelter, do your service. And I think it is very, very important that we all do our best to give back whenever we can.
And I couldn't agree with you more. For those of you who want to get involved in philanthropy and you are of means, meaning you have wealth, well, I believe you have an obligation. We all have an obligation to give financially. For those of you who may not have a big bank account or maybe struggling financially right now, you can get involved by donating your time and your knowledge, and never underestimate the value of what you can offer. We can all be philanthropists, and we can all get involved in helping those in need. And when you help others, you feel good yourself. You feel like you're doing something of value. You're giving back to this world. We aren't just here to take and to enjoy life. We are here to give back to others and those in need. And it's critically important. And the United States is very much built on the concept of philanthropy. And we must follow the footsteps of those before us and continue doing the work of those before us by becoming philanthropists. Zang, we have just a few minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this interview?
Well, Jane, I 1,000% agree with you, and thank you for all the work you have done, all the philanthropy work that you have done so selflessly. That's why we all love you so, so much.
Well, thank you very much, Zang Toi, and thank you for all the philanthropy that you do, and for also making women look beautiful and men look great through your fashion. This concludes Successful Philanthropy. Our guest today, international fashion designer Zang Toi. He not only is a fashion designer, he's a philanthropist, and he holds the title of Dak Tok in the country of Malaysia. That title is like a duke or a knight. This concludes Successful Philanthropy. Our host, Jean Shafiroff. I'll see you next week.
On peut chercher l'amour dans les yeux que l'on croise, dans les peaux que l'on touche, au creux des nuits soyeuses, à pleine bouche. On doit chercher l'amour, c'est la moindre des choses, tu sais. Il n'y a rien d'autre au monde, c'est vrai, et rien d'autre qui compte.
I love going to Paris. I love staying at the Ritz, staying up all night sketching my collection until 6 or 7 a.m.
Sauver nos peaux de l'effroi, pour sauver nos vies de l'enfer.
I love walking all over Paris, stopping by my favorite Café de Forêt for a cup of coffee, watching all the chic Parisians walking by, iconic Eiffel Tower, so glamorous and so gorgeous, never fail to inspire me.
Celui dont on rêvait toujours, dont on rêvait toujours. On a besoin d'amour, quels que soient nos visages, quelles que soient nos prouesses, et quels que soient nos équipés sauvages. On a besoin d'amour tout comme l'on.
Fall 2021 collection opened with a Parisian girl in the most luxurious Marie Antoinette yellow Saga Royal fox coat.
Contre toute espérance, sans l'ombre d'un atout, sans l'ombre d'une chance, comme à genoux. Il nous arrive d'aimer comme des naufrages.
And then move into a very beautiful, very romantic print, which we call the Paris My Love. The title of the collection consists of a beautiful bouquet of pink roses.
Amour qui nous emporte sans retour.
Second scene of the collection is all about the very chic Parisian girl hanging out in the left bank of Paris.
Celui dont on rêvait toujours, dont on rêvait toujours.
The collection is a little edgier, a little sexier, and super luxurious in the shades of black, gray, and charcoal.
Tout comme l'on se penche. Regarde, regarde, il nous arrive un grand amour. qui nous emporte sans retour, sans pardon, sans pourquoi.
Evening scene is all about a grand soirée at the Ritz at Place Vendôme.
Celui dont on rêvait toujours, dont on rêvait toujours.
And the chic Parisian lady all dressed up in their finest to attend the soirée at the Ritz.
Au creux des nuits soyeuses, à pleine bouche, on doit chercher l'amour, c'est la moindre des choses, tu sais. Il n'y a rien d'autre au monde, c'est vrai, et rien d'autre qui compte. On peut chercher l'amour.
The iconic Eiffel Tower, the gorgeous, gorgeous Eiffel Tower never failed to inspire me. Paris, my love.
Amazing show. Love you. Great show. Great show.
Il nous arrive un grand amour qui nous emporte sans retour, sans pardon, sans pourquoi.